Hello and welcome to 11 plus nonverbal reasoning. So let's read the question first of all, and then we'll look at the example. So the question states, look at the 5 figures below. Select the figure that is most unlike the others from the options provided. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 figures here, and we're looking for one figure that's very different from the rest. But before we do that, let's just look at the example first of all. And this is just a general example. So in the first example, we have an arrow that's pointing up and a black square. So black arrow, black square. Here, the square goes to the left and it becomes kind of grayish, and the arrow stays on the right. Again, to option C, the arrow's on the left, but the gray square's on the right, but it's also grayish in color as well. Option D, the arrow again, now we know, so from here, the arrow's on the left, second box, the arrow's on the right, box C, the arrow's on the left, box D, the arrow's on the right, and then box E, the arrow's pointing down. So we can see that this box is very different to the rest of the boxes. Why? Because the arrow is pointing down. It should actually be pointing up, and it should also be on the left-hand side. So this way, option E is the odd one out. Okay, and that's exactly what we're going to do with our main questions here. So let's go through them one by one. So let's look at let's look at these questions first of all. So with regards to the first one, we've got a black figure on the left, which is fine. And we've got this figure on the right. Okay, I'm labeling them 1 and 2 just to kind of make it easy. And we've got the arrow, and now this particular arrow here is pointing to option 2. So here, the second option, the second figure, we have option 2. The only difference is it's the right way up now. We've got, upside down, and we've got the black option here, which is also upside down. And the arrow in this case is pointing to the black figure. Let's look at option C. So we've got the figure 1, and we've got figure 2, but this time around the arrow is pointing to the black figure. Let's look at option D. So in this case, we've got option 2 here on the left, and we've got the black option on the right, and we've got the arrow pointing to the black figure. And the last option, again, these are upside down, the black figure and the white figure. So we've got the first figure there, second figure there, and we've got the arrow pointing to the black figure. Okay, so here, the arrow is pointing to the white figure, white gray figure, option 2. Here, we've got the arrow pointing to, on the second option, we've got the arrow pointing to the black figure. So I'm just writing these down here, wherever the arrow is pointing to. Option C, the arrow's pointing to the black figure, so we'll just write down 1. Option D, the arrow's pointing to the black figure, so we'll just write down option 1. And the last option E, the arrow's pointing to the black figure again, and we'll just circle option 1. So here we've got the arrow pointing at option 1, arrow pointing at option 1, arrow pointing at option 1, arrow pointing at option 1. But here we've got the arrow pointing at option 2. Okay, so that's how we can work out that option A is unlike the other figures. So we were looking at various examples. If you remember at the beginning, we were looking at the color of the figure. We were looking at if it's upside down or if it's straight. We were looking at whether the arrow is pointing to the black figure or the white gray figure. So there's various sequences and patterns that you've got to assess when you're going through these questions one by one. And do remember, please, every single question is very, very different from each other. Okay, but try your best. Thank you.